switched over to carrier when I was about 27 years old, and I see how far out you guys are, and I know that you're never going to get a chance to be an Oklahoma City bombing survivor unless someone like me gets the opportunity to meet you. And I thank you for that. I want to give you a personal invitation down to the memorial if you haven't been down there yet. It's very well done. What was I going to say? And you people that are dedicated to exercise, that run is unbelievable. If you've ever ran in a marathon, you've never ran one like this. We had like 29 or 32,000 runners last year. The only problem we had thunderstorms, and they canceled the start in about 45 minutes, and a lot of people decided not to come. So, but right around 30,000 people paid to do the run. But you come down here and do a class and hang around and do the run at the same time. You know, if you're really into that. And I push that because that's our number one fundraiser. We get to keep all of that. That was like $800,000 that the memorial got to keep, and they use that to maintain the site down there and everything. How many of you have been down there? Well, fantastic. Did you get a turn? Did any of you get a turn? Okay, that's good. A lot of people they leave and they got the building just 3 times bigger than what it was. The building is on one side of the street. Thanks, sir. The building's on one side of the street, and the walls of time, that's the exact length of the building. The reflecting pool is the street, which was 5th Street, a one-way street, and the building is all on the side where all the chairs are. My story is I'm the mailman for the building 5 hours a day, 5 days a week. As soon as you come through the front door, I would know your business. I'd know if you were an employee or going to, we had 4 public facilities in the building. That's another reason why they picked our target. Besides, there was no cameras on the roof or in the hall, and our security guard over there, they kind of floated between 3 buildings. And they put the explosion in a Ryder truck right in the loading zone. They actually got it underneath the eave of the building. And needless to say, no new federal buildings are set up like that anymore, and especially 9 floors of front glass, and that's what we had off that loading zone. The whole front of the building was 9 floors of glass, and they actually pancaked the building in the center. And at 9:02, I'm a full-court basketball court from the Ryder truck, and no way should I have survived. But to be a survivor and a victim, and survive as a victim, you have to have at least 2 miracles at 9:02. And what I mean is you have to be at the right place at the right time in the building. If you were anywhere else in the wrong place at the building, you're not going to have a snowball chance, because the blast moved anything it wanted to move in the building. It moved 7-drawer file cabinets, double doors, steel doors, took them off the hinges, took the utility lines out of the walls, and so concrete and glass is what killed the 168 people that did survive. The explosion was as loud as a sonic boom. If you've ever been to an air show and you've heard the sonic boom, that's exactly, with the exception it was a little louder because downtown in a one-way, on those high rises, when a car backfires, you get that echo, increases the sound. So it was really a little louder than a sonic boom. But my story is 5 miracles in 15 minutes. Now, what I mean about 15 minutes, around that 9 o'clock hour, I've been sorting my mail for 5 hours. I'm the first employee in the building at 4:30 with my own keys. Security didn't unlock the front doors until 6 o'clock. And we had the old style, like at the grocery stores where you step on the pad and the door opens up. That's what we had there for the front door. And I jump around here a lot. Do I have any questions so far? Okay. Do people that have been down there, do you have any questions about something you saw down there, or you didn't maybe get answered, or you have to guess maybe on the answer? Anybody have anything on that? I'll probably tell you guys more than once. I appreciate the opportunity to meet you because this gauges my recovery. See, post-traumatic stress, you can't lock it in. If you like an idiot, you have to go to the shrink once a week. You're spinning your wheels. And this is actually my group counseling by coming out here and meeting you guys. This gauges my recovery and makes sure that I'm getting better every year, because I can't act like those weren't my customers for 5 years. I was 45 when it happened. I had worked 10 more. They offered me a 40% medical, and you can't survive on that if you live by yourself with all your bills paid. And I had three sons. My oldest son is an Oklahoma State senator. He was in college at the time, and he was the first family member to find me. I took a 6-minute concussion. I got slammed into a wall from the blast wave. When the blast wave ricocheted through the building, it lifted me up off my toes and blew me backwards into my letter case that I sorted my mail into that morning. Any questions? I don't know if I've got time to get into 5 places to be at the wrong place at the wrong time, because I get into so much into detail working in that building 5 hours a day for 5 years. When you go back down there in the museum, they have all survivors. They have our stories detailed in the computer. They wanted us to do that so that they would have that for future generations. I testified in 2 or 3 trials. I thrust myself into the justice side. I didn't. It crushed me, losing that many customers and friends in the blink of an eye. And so it was very easy for me to climb into the justice. We were offered the justice side, or to be in the. They encouraged survivors and victims to be involved in design for the museum. For the memorial. And but you couldn't do both. There just wasn't enough time. I continued to work. The bomb happened on Wednesday. I slept in Thursday in my worst nightmare, and I left this part out right here. I should have got on you guys quite a ways back there. At 9:02, your vocabulary goes down to 3 words, and your mind will take nothing else. If you find yourself in that kind of event, you're not going to be able to do A, B, C, D, E, F, G. I'll do this. I'll do that. You're not going to be able to, because you're going to be, these 3 words right here are going to be slamming you. You're living your worst nightmare, denial, and unbelievable. You're safe in a government building, and it ain't happening, And that's the way it was for survivors and victims. I was interviewed on the street after I got out of my concussion. I staggered out of the building, and I was interviewed about right around an hour after it happened. I stood around and I watched triage. Now, why did I do that? Because it wasn't happening, and people were hurt worse than me. And anyway, this reporter comes up to me. He says, "Sir, I can tell you were in the building. You got concrete dust, insulation, and shattered glass all over you. Are you okay?" Well, I told this reporter I'm okay, which was a lie. And I was in the basement. And I was on the first floor, a full-court basketball court from the explosion. So that's what I'm talking about. You can kind of look for that kind of coming. And I don't wish that on nobody. If you're in that kind of event, you're not going to be able to do. I'm a retired firefighter from Air National Guard, and we trained every weekend for rescue. I didn't go up to daycare and check on the kids. There was 19 kids killed in the daycare. It took me months to get over that. Sykes, how could you exit out of the building as a firefighter? I rescued 1 person, and that was it. But I was mad. I said, "How could you do that, man? You never went up to check on the kids." They were on the 2nd floor, right in the center of the building. And he put the explosion at the 30% ratio of the length of the building. If you go back down there and you see the walls, 30% of that is where the truck was parked. But I eventually got over it. I figured out you can't be the rescue person and the victim at the same time. It won't happen. not Superman. I told you guys I jump around a lot. Do I have any questions? I know you, Jimmy and John, you guys being from Denver, I know you guys seen downtown Denver change with both of those. I made 4 trips to Denver. I sat for 2 weeks, about from here to the back glass from McVeigh. 2 weeks I did. He was so cocky and conceited, he knew where survivors and victims were sitting in the courtroom. And he would lock eyes on you and give you to go to hell because he wanted you to come over the little fence and slam him around and, make a bigger story on the front page. Survivor so-and-so hits McVeigh 4 times and that kind of crap. We had to have a Department of Justice ID to attend the trials. You could not get into the trial without a Department of Justice ID. And they scanned that every time we went through 2 metal detectors. These guys know about security. They had security back 2 to 4 blocks. Constantly had guys walking. They were really concerned about somebody making a big splash. I witnessed the execution of McVeigh, and I testified in the Ford-Day trial and the Nichols trial when we brought Terry Nichols back to Oklahoma. But it was just easy to do that because, like I said, there was families suffering that lost their loved ones that they could not attend those functions. And plus, I was able to get firsthand information, not have to watch it on TV to see if they misquoted something because I seen it firsthand in the courtroom. We had beamed in live telecasts every day of the trials out here at FAA when you guys landed at the airport. Right there at FAA, we had we could go out there every day and watch it. And what I'd do is I'd go to work an hour early and then take off an hour early and skip my lunch. And with a different time zone in Denver, then I could see 4 hours of the trial every day, and that's what I did. Then I didn't have to read the paper or wait, stay up for the 10 o'clock news to wonder what really happened. Getting off here a little bit, Mike back here, I've known him for a long time, and he's Oklahoma City maintenance. And after I got rehabbed from the bombing, I talked about my job. I got rehabbed into the warehouse, and I got to work with him almost every day when he'd bring equipment out to the warehouse. And what I'm trying to say is, this guy's a pure gentleman. He would bring stuff out to the warehouse, and because of my restrictions, he'd do extra help out there to make my job a little easier for me, and I never forgot it. Just now noticed him sitting back there. I kind of, as I was looking around looking at you guys. But you feel really bad. My situation was being 45 years old and being in perfect health. You want to be the same employee after something like that you were before. And that situation down there, just no matter how hard I tried, I just couldn't get it done. I ended up with 60% hearing and balance. I cracked my right ankle. I've lost a joint on this right ankle. I've only got a joint and a half. You've got 3 joints that hold your ankle on your skeleton. And half of my center's gone, and then all my outside's gone. And it froze up on me, and you've got so many small bones in your feet that it took so long to really figure out what was wrong. I still have glass in both my arms 16 years later, pushing out. It was like I had a whole windshield on me. Thought I'd lost an eye. We had a lot of survivors lose eyes. And probably about an hour and a half after it happened, the rescue downtown was unbelievable. They used 4 hospitals. I jumped in the back of the pickup truck and rode up to the hospital and had my eyes checked for glass. And still doing the denial and the nightmare deal. I bummed a ride 16 miles home from the hospital because it didn't happen. I didn't need to go back and get my truck. So that's another, this is going on all the way through it. Those 3 words are coming right back and hitting you in the face. And I got home and got in the shower. The nurses up at the hospital said, "Man, you need a 1-hour shower." And so I started started taking that shower, and I was crying in the shower. And my oldest son come running in the house and found me. And he takes me out of the shower and takes me in the living room. We turn TV on. And we find it on TV for every day for 4 months. And that is the only crack in the window when I finally said, David, it has happened. You'll have to deal with it. You'll have to hang tough. And that was like a 1:30, right around 1:30 factor. But just until then, of course, when I was crying in the shower, I did tell myself you're floating all around, And I said, you've seen the inside of the building when you were coming out. You've seen Triad. I think I have. But anyway, I told myself, this has really happened. 100 are not going to make it. And I missed it by 68 people. It was 168. Any questions, guys? Okay. Yeah, go ahead.
How long before you went back to work? You said you went back to work.
You hear that one, Mike?
Yep.
It happened on Wednesday. I slept in Thursday in my worst nightmare because I knew my mailroom was, chaos. And I reported back to work Friday, Wednesday, Thursday. Oh, excuse me. I had my long weekend. We get a weekend off once a month. So my long weekend fell right there as a carrier. So I took my weekend off. I reported back to work Monday morning with injuries. My wife begged me not to go. Begged me. And I was in the building with another carrier. And he survived too. We were together. And he was 55 at the time of the explosion. And we just kind of made a deal that we got to go back. We got to deal with it. And I reported back to work from Wednesday till Monday with injuries. Of course, I went to the doctor, and I only had to do part duty that day because my route, everything was chaos. But it was the first time I'd ever been hurt at work, and I made mistakes on that. I really did. Everything I had wrong with me, I couldn't see with the naked eye. I couldn't see the hearing and the balance loss. I couldn't see the glass in my arms. I didn't know my ankle was cracked. I didn't.
They didn't ask you for a doctor's release.
Well, and you hit on the head. They let me come back. They let me come back with no psychological evaluation at all, and I was not. I would have flunked from the get-go. Now we did have some group counseling at the main office, and then we were supposed to come out of that group counseling and go to individual counseling if we felt like we needed to. But no, I wasn't qualified to go back to work. But that's what I'm telling you about. You want to be the same employee you were before and after, especially when you're only 45 years and carrying mail. You're in perfect health. And then the other problem is all three of my jobs I've had in my adult life: referee in baseball for 15 years, and carrying mail for 25, and Air National Guard firefighter. I had to be in excellent condition. See, so that kind of gets in your brain there. Hey, I'm okay, and that kind of stuff. But yeah, I should have took off at least 90 days before I ever went back. Because let me tell you why. My route is on all four sides, directions of the memorial. I'm delivering mail, and people are out there sitting on the curb, crying and waiting for their loved one to be taken out of the building. I didn't need to see that. No way did I need to see that. And what we'd do, we'd use the alleys to stay away from the memorial site. We'd use the alleys so we wouldn't be in Jim Garrett, the other survivor. We'd use the alleys to deliver our mail so we wouldn't have to see that. But I'd come down through there and they put up a couple of shrines, if that's the right word. And of course, this is before cell phones, and you've got people waiting for the condition of their loved one. I used to sit with those families in the courtroom. That's what was nice about survivors that wanted to attend the trials. The victims needed somebody to sit with, and they loved to sit with me because I was a mailman. I knew their loved one. I took breaks with them in the break room and that kind of stuff. We all mingled together. But anyway, what I'm trying to get to is I met this couple. They'd lost their daughter, and he was all the way up at Grand Lake, which is about 200 miles from here, up in Tulsa. And his son calls him and says, "Dad, something terrible's happened downtown. You need to get downtown ASP." and this guy's retired. Of course, that stretches him out anyway when he finds out about this. And so anyway, he's driving from 200 miles with his blinkers on to get downtown. And his daughter was like about the last 10 taken out of the building. You know, and but I sat with them in the out at FAA and in the courtroom, and it gave them comfort that survivors were involved because we share a common bond and we would lean on each other. Did I answer your question? I jump around a lot.
I'm just surprised you didn't take sick leave and had an opportunity.
Well, you're so well. No, hang on now. I'm not bragging. I am not bragging.
You don't need to brag.
Hang on.
Hang
on. I retired with 11 months sick leave. I could suck that down on the bombing, as you just said,
right,
all the way to zero. But as we know, it takes a long time to come back from a cancer or any of those major surgeries. So I always protected my sick leave, for those reasons. And I retired at 55 years old as soon as I could. And I did take 3 months sick leave, and I worked security out here. I guess Jeff told you guys. I worked security right here for 5 years, which I was able to do on my restrictions. And I'd had about 3 surgeries in my career, but none of them were. I had gallbladder, the old gallbladder where they cut you halfway open. But no, I always saved my sick leave because I actually started at the post office when I was 22. But it's the first time I'd ever been hurt at work and being in perfect condition. You know, now I can tell you this: if I would have been 55 and qualified for retirement, in this mind, I don't think I'd ever went back because I came so close to never having a retirement. Say, now the other carrier I was with, he was 55. But now dig this. Here's another twist. He said, Sykes, I got to go back to deal with it. He says, if I don't go back, it's going to be too easy for me not to deal with it. So he went back just for that reason right there. See?
How much longer did he work?
He didn't start the post office till he's 29. And as you know, we don't make anything till we get at least 30 years. So he worked, I worked till 2005. He worked till about 2000. And he was about 29 when he started. I'll be hooking up with him again tomorrow at 10 o'clock. He lost his son-in-law to cancer just a day or two ago. And I'll be attending that funeral. I feel sorry for him. He's lost his son-in-law now, and he lost his wife about 2000. And that kind of stuff, once you've got post-traumatic stress, boy, it don't take too much to set you off. Like 911 and airplane crashes. See, when airplane crashes, I know exactly what those people are feeling day 5, day 35, and your heart just crushes, because you know what they're going through and how tough they'll have to be and what they'll have to endure. The bombing put so many divorces and bankruptcies here in Oklahoma City, it's off the scale. See, he took out about 25 other buildings besides just the Murrah building because once it raised the roof, they're condemned. It's gone. I mean, it's hard to put this thing on the computer financially with everybody going to the hospital and all the disabilities and all the above. All that destruction down there was $5,000. Guys, I'll close with this. I know you guys, it wasn't in the paper everywhere back here in Phoenix, Arizona, and Virginia, every day like it was here. But the $5,000 was $3,000 in fertilizer, $500 to rent the Ryder truck, $500 for the getaway vehicle, which was a clunker, and then $1,000 for jet fuel, like the dragsters at the drag strip. They stole the blasting caps and the barrels and some of the other stuff. They broke into a rock quarry up in Kansas and stole the rest of the stuff. And I told you about McVeigh being so cocky, guys. He had a 45 underneath his armpit to get away. But he also told the other guys, hey, I got to have this 45 in case there's any smokers out front. I ain't jacking around. I'm going to shoot them. I'm serious as Arctic. He wasn't going to jack around with that thing in the truck. But that's why he told the other 2 guys that, that's mainly why when I get away, if I have trouble getting away, and if people are lollygagging out in front of the building, I'm not waiting. And that's just, but here's what always tears me up. He's got those military earplugs and he puts his earplugs in. When he parks the truck, he lights the dead cord like a firecracker. He had it running up to the truck, lights it, puts his earplugs in, walks across the corner of the intersection, and leans out from behind the YMCA, which is a dead-end alley where he had the vehicle parked. And he had to have the satisfaction, this is what I'm trying to get to, of watching the building come down. I kid you not. And knew that there was kids in there and didn't even give us a 2-minute. He could have made the same impression if he'd have gave a 5-minute chance for us to get out of the building. Just taking down the building with all that computer equipment and all the chaos. But yeah, we had no notice, of course, at all. That's just how bad he was. And I've heard people say, well, we kept him alive, we get more information. He wasn't going to talk in 5 lifetimes. He wanted that much glory, if you want to call it, for being a mastermind. And he was not going to talk. And survivors and victims, it's so much easier for us now because when the anniversary date rolls around, he's not giving his cocky interview. See? All right, guys, I got to get you back here to the bosses here.
Thanks, Dave.
Well, appreciate it. Hey, thank you. Hey,
Take care of Mama tonight.
I will. Guys, I appreciate that. And like I said, this is a guy that gets me in to meet you. So if I didn't give you more information, I apologize if I gave you more information than what you want to hear. But thank him if you enjoyed meeting me. And then the other thing is, real quick, I know you got to wrap down your class there on the computer over at the motel. The director backs me out here doing what I'm doing. So maybe if you'd make a comment on that, I'll still have the opportunity to continue to come out here. Okay?
Okay.
Hey, guys.
Thanks, Dave.
All right.
God bless you.